Christianity and becoming an atheist taught me that I can have sex with anyone I want and my body count doesn't matter. I may not believe in virginity because it's a man-made social construct about controlling women and how to regulate female sexuality. So we've already talked about how I don't believe in virginity and body count because they're toxic ideas that control women. But I want to talk about bodily autonomy having to do with actual sexual activity. Now, this is something that I never heard about as a child. I never had a sex talk. And I was in the Southern Baptist, Calvinistic, fundamentalist, extreme forms of Christianity. And if you've never experienced it, I would not recommend it. It's not something that is something I would recommend for your betterment. And I don't know, it's just something that I never learned as a kid. That I had bodily autonomy, consent, agency, and I had sovereignty over what happened to my body, even as a child. Children have a right to say they don't like certain people hugging and touching them. I mean, sometimes you're going to have to touch your kids for safety purposes and to discipline them. Even though I don't believe in spanking, sometimes you have to grab your kid if they're walking out in traffic. But unless it's something for safety and for discipline, parents have a really hard time acknowledging and following bodily autonomy and choice when it comes to kids. My parents lived vicariously through me by controlling every aspect of my life. So I grew up not having a choice in what religion I wanted to be in, what curriculum I was exposed to. I was told to read and watch movies. I had no choice. Even how I played was tightly controlled. Factual information outside of school was almost non-existent. Thought was controlled. And what they taught me helped to control my own thoughts. So in a way, they controlled me even then. And it never ends. Christianity and religion is so uncomfortable with people owning their own bodies, being able to say no, yes, and have it respected without having to be explained. And that's why I don't like virginity and body count. Because it takes away someone's humanity to push them into a box or share things that are no one's business. Unless you were there and experienced something, it's not your business. If you weren't the person they had sex with, it's none of your business. Now, your partner that you've consented to be with has a right to know if you have any catchable STIs or any traumas associated with sex and behavior, or else they can't consent to having a relationship with someone they don't know. That wouldn't be fair. But there's something about Christianity that just can't stand women having control over how they use their body and how they don't use their body. I mean, even secular society criticizes women for having sex. They even shame them when they choose not to. And I mean never getting married and never following through with the heterosexual fantasy. I don't want to be in a relationship just because I don't think it will make me happy. And I've seen enough of biblical marriage to make anybody, if it was possible to become asexual and aromantic from growing up in a family that just made relationships miserable, I think my religion and family could make someone asexual if that was possible. It's not, but it would. If you wanted to be turned off marriage and heterosexuality for life, my religion and family could do it. And I've decided I like to travel and have a career. I don't want any of that heterosexual toxic stuff near me. That doesn't mean that there isn't out there positive heterosexuality. I've just been burned so much by the negative side. I don't really want the positive side. So that's my choice. And my listeners and subscribers, you can live life however you want to. Because that's what autonomy is all about. Controlling what you can control and setting boundaries for things you can't control. And sometimes you just have to say no. And if people can't or won't understand no, that's a major red flag right there. And if people can't understand no, and they do understand no, every human being, even animals, understand no. If one animal tries to encroach on another territorial animal's, their territory, they get killed, maimed, or they get driven out. If one animal tries to attack the female species within that breed, the others gang up and drive them out. If animals can understand consent, autonomy, and territory, humans have no excuse. So, own your body, own your decisions, and even if you make bad decisions or do something that you later realize wasn't consensual, you can learn from it, call the police, and always educate yourself. And I always say, if someone's not enthusiastically saying yes or trying to knock you over in order to do it, they're not consenting. Yeah. If you're not telling the other person to calm down, slow down, and wait, they're not consenting enthusiastically. And people who say they can't tell the difference are liars. Because even roaches understand consent. They understand what not to do. It's socialization. So, autonomy and agency are non-negotiables. You can move your boundaries depending on what kind of person's involved. I mean, if you're with a super healthy green flag person, you might have slightly different boundaries for them compared to another red flag person who doesn't care about boundaries, and you have to have much more stringent and more boundaries for them because they need more blockades so they don't go over what you're comfortable with. And that's fine. I have different boundaries, fewer boundaries with people that respect me and see me as an equal, while people who don't and I can't avoid, I have twice as many boundaries for them. So, live your life. But yeah, atheism taught me what you want, what makes you uncomfortable, and what you find important is important. And anyone who doesn't care that you're in pain, uncomfortable, and can't read the room aren't people you want to feel safe around. And you should not feel safe around these people. And Christianity taught me that my desires, feelings, and whether or not I'm uncomfortable or in pain don't matter. And that's not an area you should ever feel safe in.